Hey everyone, and welcome! Today we're diving into something every single young person goes through, puberty. But we're not just going to talk about it like it's a biology lesson. No, we're going to look at it as this incredible journey of growth, one that's guided by our faith and a whole lot of understanding.
So let's be real for a second. How do we take a conversation that can feel, well, super awkward and turn it into something that's actually empowering? That's the big question, right? And that's exactly what this explainer is all about, giving you, whether you're a parent or a teen, the tools to move past that hesitation and feel confident.
All right, here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start by talking about how this is a universal journey. Then we'll get into the signs of change, what this all means from a faith perspective, some really practical guidance on hygiene and modesty, and finally, we'll wrap up with the super important role parents play in all of this.
Okay, first things first, let's talk about how this whole stage can feel. It can be pretty confusing, and honestly, that is completely okay. The most important thing to remember is that this journey is universal. Everyone goes through it, and just getting your head around that is the very first step to navigating it with confidence.
Yeah, it's so important to normalize all the feelings that come along for the ride. Feeling frustrated, a little self-conscious, or just plain awkward, that's all a totally normal part of the process. From a faith point of view, this is a journey designed by Allah. And everyone, and I mean everyone, experiences it in their own unique way.
All right, so now that we've established that feeling all these things is totally normal, let's get a little more specific. What are the actual signs of change? We're going to look at the common physical and emotional stuff, but also, and this is key, the really important markers from an Islamic perspective.
So physically, there is a lot going on, and it's all thanks to hormones. This can mean you're suddenly shooting up in height, your voice starts doing funny things, or you're dealing with new stuff like acne and sweating more. But here's the thing you've got to remember. The timing and the speed of all these changes are totally unique to each person. And that's not just okay, it's exactly how it's supposed to be.
Now, this is a really important distinction to make. Biologically speaking, puberty can kick in any time between, say, 9 and 15 years old. But from an Islamic viewpoint, the beginning of religious accountability, that's a big deal, is marked by one of three very specific signs. This is the exact moment a young person really transitions into spiritual adulthood.
And that brings us to a really crucial shift in how we look at all this. We're moving beyond just the physical stuff to understand what it all means spiritually. See, in Islam, puberty isn't just about your body growing up, it's about stepping into a brand new, more direct relationship with your faith.
This right here is the core concept. Puberty marks that moment when a young person becomes accountable for their own deeds, their actions, their intentions, they're now being recorded. It's a massive transition, and it's seen as part of Allah's perfect and wise plan for how we grow and develop.
So, with this new accountability comes new responsibilities. In Islam, these are known as the fara'id. Think of them as the foundational acts of worship that are now mandatory. Things like the 5 daily prayers and fasting during Ramadan. It's a huge sign of spiritual maturity. And this powerful hadith, wow, it really puts the importance of this new phase into perspective, doesn't it? It highlights that prayer, or salat, is the very first thing we'll be asked about. That just cements its central role in a Muslim's life, right from the moment of puberty.
Okay, so how do these big spiritual ideas actually play out in everyday life? Well, this next section is all about the practical side of things, how to maintain physical and spiritual purity, which, in Islam, are totally intertwined.
The concept of tahara, which means purification, is absolutely fundamental. You've probably heard the famous hadith, cleanliness is half of faith. And what that really means is that staying physically clean isn't just good hygiene, it's actually a necessary condition for our prayers and other acts of worship to even be accepted.
A really key part of this purification, of tahara, is the ritual bath, which is known as ghusl. It's super important for a young man to understand exactly when this becomes required, because it's essential for getting back into that state of purity you need for prayer.
And you know what? Performing ghusl is actually pretty straightforward. It really boils down to two essential things. First, you make the intention in your heart that you're purifying yourself for Allah. It's not just a regular shower. And second, you just have to make sure water covers your entire body. Simple, right? But so important.
Now, beyond the ritual purity, Islam puts a huge emphasis on just general cleanliness. This includes simple things we should all be doing, right? Like showering regularly, washing your face to help with acne, and other practices that are rooted in the traditions of the Prophet. These are all habits that lead to a healthy body,
a clear mind, and a real boost in self-confidence.
And running right alongside cleanliness is the principle of modesty. For boys and men, this is where the concept of aura comes in. It defines the part of the body that has to be covered in front of others, specifically from the navel down to the knees. This isn't about being restrictive. It's seen as an expression of personal dignity and self-respect. All right, we've now arrived at our final section, and honestly, it might be the most crucial one. We're talking about the role of parents and guardians. You just can't overstate how important it is. Successfully guiding a child through this time is all built on a foundation of trust, openness, and compassion.
The absolute #1 goal here is for parents to be that primary trusted source of information. Think about it. When a kid feels safe coming to you with their questions, they are so much less likely to turn to the internet or their friends, which, as we know, can often lead to a lot of confusion and bad information.
So how can parents create that safe space? Well, the key is to be reassuring, not authoritative. Try to frame the conversation around the beauty and wisdom of Allah's plan. Use language they can actually understand, and please avoid the pressure of having one big awkward talk. Instead, just aim to weave these topics into natural, ongoing conversations.
And that really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. When puberty is approached with knowledge, with faith, and with open communication, it totally transforms from this challenge you have to get through into a powerful opportunity. It can actually become a shared journey of deeper connection and a way to build an even stronger foundation of faith for the whole family.